decide to fall in love with being uncomfortable or choose to continue to live the life that you're living. And look around you. Is this where you want to be? Or would you like to decide that you're going to be okay with being uncomfortable? Fall in love with discomfort. You've got to fall in love with it.
Welcome to the Find Your Influence podcast. This episode, proudly sponsored by the Guinea Group of Companies, an organisation that helps leaders upgrade their mindset, upskill their leadership, and uplift their teams. If you would like the opportunity to sponsor an episode of our podcast, please reach out to the team at the Guinea Group, theguineagroup.com.au, the team at theguineagroup.com.au. Can't wait to hear from you. And if you would like to be a podcast guest, click on the information sheet that is available on the podcast page.
Team, thanks for joining us. You have got the amazing Susan Sheehan, a performance mindset coach and speaker, transformational facilitator, dedicated to helping individuals and organizations unlock their highest potential, which sounds pretty exciting. Founder of the Coaching Consult, Susan partners with leaders and execs, growth-minded individuals to drive behaviour change, which is really interesting, and elevate our emotional state. So talk us through that, Susan. What does all that mean in pragmatic terms?
Yes, words on a page. How do you turn words on a page into people being able to view how you can help them, right?
That's it.
Okay, the long and the short of it is I've been in the business of wellness and personal development for 30 plus years.
Oh, wow.
Worked in 3 countries physically, online,
Wow.
of course. So I've helped thousands of people look and feel better about themselves so they can perform at their best in whatever they do in life and business. So that's the long and the short of it. I'm known for my brain training. I was always fascinated to see. I was always fascinated to why some people seem to have the Midas touch to success, and other people did the work and never quite got the results they want. Right. So I made it sort of like a lifelong study. And hence, the interviews of celebrities and being around people that have that mindset to success.
Right.
But it all started when I had a client once, and I was a single mum, and she said to me, why don't you have a maid? And I thought, well, that's a jolly good question. Why don't I have a maid? Why don't we all have maids, right? And I got thinking about it. I mean, she would have had a maid like I would go and have a cup of tea. My mum and my grandmother were successful, had gardeners and housekeepers, but not maids and butlers. So I'm thinking that's a whole different layer of success.
It is.
And Diana thought about having a maid just as it was just what one did. But in my mind, I never even thought about it.
Right.
So that took me on the journey of truly wanting to understand why Diana thought that a maid was as simple as having a cup of tea, and it didn't even enter my mind.
Oh.
And that took me on the journey of really studying, the unconscious and what was really going on in our brain and our mind. And I identified that if we could understand what was going on here, that we could get better results for clients out here.
Oh, nice. So what have you studied, like psychology or biology or neurology, or what's the study that's gone into it? Or is it just talking to other humans and trying to work out from conversational studies? When you say the word study, do you mean studying humans?
Yeah, study through study of human behavior, through conversations, through working with thousands of clients. I did a year of psychology, but realized that wasn't really where I was going to be. I have a son. I raised a son with an intellectual disability, and he was born with 3 parts of his brain damaged, multiple food allergies, and he had a seizure every 20 minutes. So I was only very young, I was at my early 20s, and I didn't know the questions to ask. But I used to ask questions anyway because I'm a why person. And, we found the answers, Matthew's drug-free, allergy-free, and seizure-free. But it took me on a journey of really wanting to understand even deeper, what was really going on. If the doctor said one thing and I achieved this result without doing what the doctor said, what is going on that I want more answers to? And of course, I just, that beginning of that journey sort of evolved into my career, let's say.
Wow. And how's your son now?
I did psychology for a while, but that I knew that wasn't going to, at that point, give me
help
what I
you out.
needed. I studied,
Mm.
I did studies and exams in psychology
Nice.
physiology. You know, I started my career as a personal trainer in 3
Ah,
countries. So, you know, I just started, and everything I needed to know, I just learned how to do. But I have grown up in the world of coaches. I
right,
believe in coaching. When I walked
right.
up, when the door opened to business, I thought, I've got a choice here. Do I go to school or do I find a coach? And I chose
Nice.
to find a coach because I wanted to be hands-on. I wanted to learn in action. And because I'm a coach, I figured that was just the smartest route for me to take. So I've grown up
Nice.
in the world of coaches, being coached
Nice.
and coaching.
Woot, woot.
That
And I
makes
think
sense?
that's really, very much so.
Yeah.
And I think one of the most important skill sets for coaches is to be coachable, believe it or not,
Oh, definitely.
because
Definitely.
coaches themselves, like, I don't know, haven't done 1,525 or something now in the last couple of years. Like, it's really about, I learn as much from the people that I'm coaching that they learn from me. And I
Oh my
think,
gosh. I think that's one of the one of the magics of coaching is that every single human being we work with, we learn something more and hop it to go into the toolbox, and we also learn something more about ourselves. I've grown a
absolutely,
little bit with every client that I've worked with.
we learn more from them. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And hopefully, as coaches, they sort of learn from us as well.
Well,
Um,
I mean, I think that has to be a definite. Otherwise, why do we do it? If we can't make a
that's
difference
right.
to a person's life, why
That's
are we
right.
doing
That's
it,
right.
right? Yeah.
Exactly. To make, and so why do you do coaching? Is it to make a difference? Are they the 3 words that you sort of lean into, or?
Oh, you know, those words are so overused, aren't they? Make a
Mm.
difference. You know, well, I've just grown up doing it. I was the kid that brought home children that didn't have friends and family, not the kids that,
Right.
not animals that needed feeding, right? So, so I think I've always been destined to do something with helping people. And because of my own journey, you know, it just became part of, I had my second daughter, and, you know, I went from a size 8 to a size 12, unacceptable when you're only in your 20s. So I
Course,
started studying weight loss, and, you know, I
right.
just woke up one morning and I thought, oh my gosh, everything that I'm learning for me and mine, I can help other people do it. So
Absolutely.
it just became, you know, maybe make a difference, but also I can make money doing it. You know,
Yes, that's right.
there was two parts to it, and
And
I've
what
just grown up
what a
doing it. Every
tool.
element, every step of the way, I knew
Yeah.
that there were elements that I needed to learn how to do better. So
Nice.
everything I knew for me to grow, I needed to continue learning. So that's what I did.
Wow. Nice. Grow, continue,
And to help
learn.
more people. If somebody ever asked me a question and I didn't know the answer,
Yeah,
I would always say, you know what? Not quite sure of that one, but I've got to figure it out. So that
I'll
just
come
opened
back to
another
you.
door, right? Yeah.
Yes. So, as the great Celeste Headley said in the 30 million view TED Talk, how to have better conversations. If you don't know, say you don't know,
Yeah, that
which I
always,
love.
always. I think that's one of my that's one of my what I call it, one of my strengths. Probably also
Mantras.
been a
Yeah,
weakness
that's
at
right.
times that I just say
Oh,
what I think. It just comes out, you know.
that's it.
I'm
That's
very
it.
transparent and very honest. So
Good.
yes,
Good.
I think it's easier
Uh,
to be honest than try to lie because
well,
you've got to remember the lies. Is that what it says?
something like that. And then, I think the other element of that, talking about what you were saying, when you grow and when you learn, you know, if you're doing what you love, you never work a day in your life. I don't know if that's quite true. Like, I still feel like I've got to get up and go to work every day, even though I love probably, you know, more than most the work that I do. But I think it's still, you know, it's still work. But might as well get
Yeah,
paid for something that I like doing.
you know, that's an interesting thing because, you know,
Mm,
we're on a mission right now. We've got a couple of big
mm,
projects that we're putting out,
right.
and it takes up a lot of time. And is it
No,
work? Yes. But when somebody says, "Hey, Susie, do you want to come and do?" and I'll go, "You know, no, I'm working." The feedback from that is, "Oh, you work too much. Come
oh,
on, don't work today." And
that's
it's
it.
like, but I want to.
Yeah, that's right.
I want to do it. So what's the
Mm,
word that implies, and then you say, "Oh no, I'm busy," and that sounds like an
oh,
excuse. So
correct.
it's like, I just love what I do, so I'm happy being here. I think that's what it is
Yeah,
all about, isn't it?
me too. I get that. Busyness is an excuse, especially, and when leaders use it with their teams,
Yeah.
basically what they're saying is, you're not my priority at the moment. So in our office, we've had a rule over the last probably 10 or 20 years. You're not allowed to use the words "I'm too busy." Oh, you'll never hear me say those words ever.
No.
And Deb, have
No,
you
me
ever heard
neither.
me say I'm too busy, Deb? No. You'll never hear me say those words.
No, I'm the same. I,
It's
I
just,
won't I won't use those words either. And it doesn't sort of mean anything, does it? It's
oh no,
just
it's
it's
crap.
nondescript. It's
No.
like, okay.
I just wish leaders would. We're doing a 2-day program next week for leaders and how to influence others and how to be better leaders, psych safety. And one of the things that I'm going to share with them is, don't take those 4 words out of your vocabulary, because what you're saying to someone is, you're not my priority at the moment, and I don't really
Yeah.
care about what you're doing. I only care about myself. So, yeah, I love that.
Which the thing is that that's an assumption, because they may not mean that, but
I
it
know.
implies that, doesn't it?
I know. That's the perception.
Yes,
That,
that's a
and
perception.
that's what we think and feel
Yes.
when someone says, I'm too busy. What they should put on the end of that is, I'm too busy for you, because then it'd be more accurate, more, at
Well,
least
I
that'd
think
be
I think
honest.
it's sort of like, I've got a whole to-do list to do and I can't fit you into it.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Or, hey, can we pick this up at 2:00? Or, I've got
Yeah.
my calendar. Can you put it in my calendar, please? Because this is more than a 5-minute conversation. Let's do it
Yes.
properly. Let's dedicate time. But see, that takes a bit of time and takes effort. And you got to engage your frontal lobes. And little leaders just want to talk from their limbic system, with the emotional part
Yes.
of their,
Yes.
without really engaging. So, which is cool, but it just doesn't land sometimes for people. So, let's talk influence, the topic of the podcast. Who's had the most influence on you, Susan Sheehan? Who's the human? You probably say mum and dad, like 99% of people have said that, but is there someone professionally that has had an influence on you?
My children have had the biggest influence on me, and they still
Oh,
do. They still do. My children are still my biggest influence.
wow.
My son and my daughter are my biggest success, and they're my biggest influence. We work as a team, but we inspire each other every day. So, and I say that proudly.
Just for all our listeners and viewers, can you just put us into the dynamics and maybe even the mechanics of that relationship, how that sort of really helps you in life?
Sure, sure. My son wakes up every morning. He walks out of his room every day and says, "It's going to be a wonderful day today, Mumsy. I just know it is."
Wow.
How can you not but start the day with a smile? Now, as I've already explained, my son, but yesterday he got the silver medal in the Special Olympics, Queensland States, and he's going to Melbourne Nationals next year. And my daughter is an international. She's a singer-songwriter. She works every day doing what we're talking about here. She inspires me because of her courage, her influence that she has. She's a great leader with her band and her friends and her network of people. She toured with Billy Idol in 2023. And if she knows that I'm not feeling like, oh my gosh, she'll just ring and go, Mummy, you've got this. You're amazing. You just go and kick ass. So they inspire me because of their own courage and their own achievements and what they're doing in life. Inspires me to be better every day.
Whoa. Their courage and their achievements. And not only that, it sounds like their positivity and their optimism, their
Yes, big
attitude,
time.
their mindset.
Yes, yeah.
Wow. Same. You heard it here. I reckon that's probably the first time in however many, 30 or whatever podcasts we've done so far. First time someone said their kids. That's really special.
Oh, thank you. Well, I mean it. That's from my heart.
No,
I
no,
mean
yeah.
it. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very true.
Super do.
And
Super
and
do.
and as far as look, I've been studying the success mindset since the beginning of my career. It's always intrigued me,
Mhm.
and how we have these ebbs and flows, and we can win, and then we lose, we win, we lose, and there's ups and downs.
Mhm.
And so who has been my biggest influencer? I guess every step of the way there's this person, and then the next stage of learning was this person. So I'm not going to put one person's name to
Okay.
it,
Mhm.
but definitely the coaches that have had the patience and the their belief in me, a coach right now, JT Fox. He
Mm.
continually helps me be better. And the other
Right.
coaches that I've worked with, they've certainly influenced in that piece of learning, and that piece of my journey. That's been my biggest
Nice.
influence, because I've always chosen who I wanted to work with. I've always known, okay, I got to know how to do this better. So I went
Yeah.
looking for the person who could help me do that.
Uh, so you go and find coaches in the niche or the area or the skill set that you need so that you can learn a very, very specific skill set like
Yes.
that.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And,
Coaches
like
with,
one of my first coaches, I spent $35,000, and somebody said to me, "What did you learn?" And I said, "I learned how to think."
ah,
It was my very first big investment into coaching, and I learned how to think, because I am very right-brained, and
yeah,
I used to be that person that would act and then go, "Oh my gosh, did I do that?" So,
I still,
and we can still be guilty of it, doing it sometimes, right? But this particular coach taught me how to think, how to
wow.
activate brain before action actually took place. So that was my very first coach, what I learned in my very first coach. And then it was, well, what's the next thing I need to learn? So I've pretty much
Wow.
grown up with coaches in my world.
Nice. And I always say that I'm the same. And so I've got coaches, and big shout out to JT. I've just spent 2 days with that mad human.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, and I think, if someone came to me and said, "Oh, you want to sell me coaching?" I said, "Yep. Who's your coach?" And if I said, "Oh, I don't have one," why would I buy from someone that doesn't have a coach?
Oh,
Why would you
yeah.
get coaching from someone that doesn't get coached? So I think,
Or coaches that, I was talking to a lady a couple of months ago, and
yeah,
she wasn't getting the results that she wanted. And
yeah,
she had a business coach, and I said, "Okay, well,
mhm,
you know, what are the areas that you need help with?" And she said, "Well, my coach does everything with me, but the problem is she's just been diagnosed with dementia, so I don't even know if she knows what she's doing." And I said, "Okay, then, well, I think you need to revisit your purpose of a coach."
yeah,
Because,
absolutely.
it's not about having that emotional connection, isn't it? It's about having that connection, but it's more important that the coach sees your vision, your purpose,
Yeah,
and can help you take either the next step or help you create
absolutely.
it. Because coaching can be step by step, can't it? You can have a coach for a
Mm,
purpose, or you can grow with the coach, but every step of
mm.
the way, you have to be learning, growing, and achieving.
Absolutely. And I feel like if you're getting the right value, you should sort of come up to the same level as your coach and that skill set over a 3 or 6 or 12-month period. They should be able to bring you up to their level. So you want a coach that's way higher than you, so they bring you up. And then eventually you'll outgrow the coach in that area. And that's when coaching programs
Well,
end.
that's an interesting
Then
process. Isn't that an interesting process? I did that. I've
mm,
done it with mentors. I just
ah,
remember once
nice.
I had a mentor, and it's like, I
Ah,
can't learn anything more from this person. In fact,
that's right.
he could
Yeah.
now learn from me.
That's right. And I think that's a really okay, well, it's actually probably a very worthy part of a coaching program. You should be aiming to get to the same level as your coach. Yeah.
Yes, well, yes,
And I remember,
that's the goal, isn't it?
mm, remember trying to get to 7 figures. So I found a coach that was at 7 figures, got
Yes.
there. So then it was, well, who's at 10 figures, and like, what's that journey look like? So, it's really, really, yeah, important to, like you said before, I love that. How do you get the coach that is the right coach for you in that niche that you need? So, so in the coaching space, who have you actually, let's talk about the work you're doing at the moment, maybe some menopause and andropause, which no one's heard about. Team, you're about to get very, very educated on men's midlife crises as well. Um, so, Susan, who do you influence now? How do you influence people? How do you influence in a coaching relationship? And maybe what coaching relationship are you most proud of? Can you think of someone that you really have influenced? Yep.
Well,
Yeah.
it's a big question, because I like to think that in some way I've influenced every client that we've worked with, and that I've
Nice. Yeah.
personally worked with over the years. I don't think it's about
Sure.
one person. It can be one small area, or it can be like a life change, right?
Nice.
I had a colleague, she's somebody that I'm working with, so she's joined our team.
Mm.
And she said to me yesterday, she said, "I have to thank you." She said, "I
Oh,
love
no.
your commitment to helping me be better." She said, if you didn't if you didn't communicate with me and really care about what I want, I know I would have dropped off before, I would have just dropped off and we wouldn't be talking today. So I want to thank you for that.
Mm.
So, I thought, oh my gosh, that's made my day, made my week. I mean, that's what we can do, right? Make a difference to a person's life. And some of these micro steps, but that's a pretty big one.
Well done.
And I think that, I had another lady walk through my door once to say to me,
Mm.
I'm not the person I was born to be, and I'm not living the life I was born to live. I've tried
Wow.
everything else. Can you help me?
Mm.
And I said,
Wow.
well, yes,
Absolutely.
I can help you. But, let me ask you a question. What do you want? What do you want? And, she said, and I said, what's the most important thing to you? And she said, do you know that you're the only person that's ever asked me those two questions? So then I
That's
just said
fair.
to her, well, okay, let's look at what that can look like. I said, close your eyes for a moment and tell me what you see when you think about yourself in a couple of years' time. What do you want to be achieving? Who have you grown into being? See, because
Whoa.
you can't become the person you're born to be unless you know what you want and you know who you need to be to get there.
That's powerful. That's a great
So,
exercise. I like
It,
it.
look, it's so much. There's so many more moving parts than that, but that
Of
has to
course.
be the beginning piece. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, I love it. Did
And
that person manage to find the answer? Did
yeah,
they
that was
did they give
it's it's that process,
brilliant?
step by step. Yes, she said she certainly got the courage. She had found the courage to take the next step and the next step and the next step and the next step.
Wow.
She then found more courage and she packed her bags and moved away, and she's just started a whole new life. So I helped her with that next phase of her life.
Wow. Congrats. Congrats. Love that. That's they're the sort of things that we're most proud of as coaches and as people that are in service and leaders too, because you gave a
Yes.
great leadership example. Well done.
But then,
Helping others.
sometimes, you got somebody is successful. And I had a client once who was generating, millions in her beauty business. She wanted to double it and she couldn't figure out why it wasn't happening. And, she was attempting to scale her business with the same vision of
Um,
the vision of what she had when she first started.
yeah.
And she needed to upgrade her belief in self. She had achieved this level of success and she wanted to double her revenue. She wasn't able to do that because she was still playing with the same game with the person she was when she started playing the game, if that makes sense.
Wow.
She
Yeah.
needed to upgrade, reset the whole version.
Mhm. Absolutely. Cool. And you can
you know.
help me upgrade my mindset too, which we're doing during this session. So thank you for
Well, you
thank
know what, I think as we spoke about, we learn from
learn from
everybody
each
we
other.
get in front of. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But you know what? The whole business of wellness is big business. And if people truly
Yeah.
want to live a life of choice and freedom, one has to be healthy. One must be mentally and physically healthy. And the industry is a big business, but there's myriads of methods, doctors' diagnosis,
Mm.
pills, potions, therapists' theories, and now there's AI. So it is a world of confusion for people. Menopause is simply one day, and it is the aging process, the name given to the aging process as we go from under 40 to over 40 and beyond. And
Love
whoever thought that men didn't have hormones was crazy. Men have
it.
hormones, and it's called andropause.
That's right. For all of our amazing humans out there listening, I was nearly going to say female listeners, but I'll just say everyone.
Well,
Yeah.
because a lot of the female listeners have men that are, I couldn't tell you the amount of women that have said to me, "Can you help my husband?"
I love it. Love it. Right. Well, my wife doesn't, um, she doesn't take too kindly to when she tells me she's menopausal. I say, yes, I get it. I'm andropausal.
Well,
She, she gives me what I call the gift of feedback.
yeah,
The
well,
gift.
well, feedback is a good thing. But it is a real thing. It is a real thing, and I think it's a conversation that needs to be had. I presented the business of menopause to a
Mm,
group of allied health professionals not so long ago,
mm,
that had like this much knowledge on menopause.
mm.
All of these allied health professionals, beautiful young people under 40, with 70% of their clientele 40 plus, but not knowing how to communicate with them, right? So then we brought up andropause, and not one of these not one of these university-trained professionals knew what andropause was. True story. So one of them said to me, "So, Susie, can we ask you, how do we recognize it?" So I said, "Oh, okay, well, lack of energy, vitality, sexual desire, mental clarity, penile dysfunction, big belly growing, hair falling out, pulsating red nose, red cheeks, sadness, depression, and lack of purpose." I said, I said, those are the signs of andropause. And we're not talking about the aches and the pains and the emotional responses and we're not
Inflammation.
talking chunking down into the symptoms. That's just what, that's the
Physical
nutshell of
signs.
andropause.
Sheesh. I didn't know all those were the physical signs. So thank you for
Those
sharing. Such a great learning. I thought I was just sunburned from last week, racing up to our chin.
well,
Turns out
I had a client once who was a professional, medical professional,
Oh, yeah.
would have known better. And he had the stomach, he had the pulsating red nose, he was diabetic, he had all of these things going on because he didn't care about this. He was 55 at the time, so just whipped him into shape, quick, smart.
Oh, did you? Did it work for him?
Well, okay, I'll share the story quickly. He'd been newly married, second marriage to a beautiful woman. They'd gone away to Greece on holiday, and his health had stopped them from exploring together. Came back. I was actually setting up some coaching in their practices, their medical practices. And she said to me, "What am I going to do?" And I said, "Well, did you talk about what was important to you, your values, before you got married?" And she said, "Well, no, we didn't." And I said, "Okay, so you need to talk about it now." So she said, "Well, how am I going to encourage him to get in shape?" So I said to her, "Well, what is one thing that, you could stop doing that could encourage him to rethink?" Well, it was closing the bedroom door. So she closed the bedroom door, and that motivated him to do something about his health and well-being.
For what reason?
You got to feel the lack of the pain of something you love.
Oh, no sex, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, no sex.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
It's good. Good. Cool. I suppose
Anyway,
you got to trust.
motivated him. It
motivated
him. And yeah, so it within a very short period of time, he dropped 10 kilos. He was off diabetic medication and really enjoying life more.
Wow. Gee, whatever works for you, I suppose. Good on.
Well, yeah, it's being okay. And as you know, with any change we make, whether it be personal or professional, as we walk through that initial, oh my gosh, that initial falling in love with being uncomfortable, because that's what we've got to do, right? We've got to fall in love with being uncomfortable, feel that pain of change. But then all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, this is fabulous. I love what I'm feeling now.
Nice. The initial challenge of change.
Yes. And that I had a client once I was walking on the beach with, and it started to rain, and he just ran for cover. I'm thinking, what on earth is he doing, right? I love the rain. So I got to where he was, and I said, "What is the problem?" And he said, "I don't want to get my hair wet."
Oh.
So I just looked at him and said, "Well, there's your problem. You don't like being uncomfortable. So you've got a choice to make here. Decide to fall in love with being uncomfortable, or choose to continue to live the life that you're living. And look around you. Is this where you want to be? Or would you like to decide that you're going to be okay with being uncomfortable?" Because as you know, 101, coaching 101 is the way we do one thing is the way we do everything, right?
I love it. Be okay with discomfort. That's good. That's a good
fall in love with discomfort. You've got to fall in love with it.
Fall in love.
Yeah, you've got to fall in love with it, because unless you're in love with it, you're not going to, it's not sustainable. You've got to really love being uncomfortable.
Sheesh. Love being uncomfortable. Gee, I don't know if there's too many people that will fall in love with discomfort, but let's hope they do.
Well, you know what? You know what, Anton? It's that as you push through it and you start to build the confidence and you start to feel healthy, you start to get better results. you start to make more money, whatever it is, it's all of a sudden it's like, okay, I can do this. I love this way. I love what I'm achieving. It sort of then gives it, I think you got to feel that pain, but then as
Uh,
you start to get those better results and whatever it looks like,
mm,
it's like, I
mm.
get it. I get it.
Right. So what you're saying really is that the more discomfort you can feel, the more growth you will experience, and all of a sudden you'll get
Always,
to a
always.
place, and then you'll appreciate the fact that you were discomfort or uncomfortable for a while because it got you to this place.
And there was
Yeah.
a reason for it. There was a reason for it. There was a purpose of feeling uncomfortable. I think once we understand the purpose of anything we have to do, it makes more sense.
It's a good call. That sometimes takes a little bit of reflection and sometimes introspection, and reframing sometimes to know that, even putting a positive spin on a negative situation, which is
Part of the
reframing.
process. Sometimes daily part of the process, right?
Such a good skill, reframing, eh? Such a good
Yeah.
skill. Cool. Hey, from a leadership perspective, I love, Susan, where you said before that you've got a staff member in your office who said that they wouldn't be where they are and they might not have even stayed in the business if you weren't so committed to helping them, which I think is I think as a leader, that's pretty powerful. I like to get that sort of a comment statement. Have you got a leadership mantra? Like, do you have something that you hang your hat on in relation to, how you lead others?
Oh, yeah, just really, really simple. Unless you can lead yourself, you never lead others. You've got to learn to lead yourself first.
And part of that is probably falling in love with discomfort.
Yes, we've got 7 ingredients. We call them
Oh, yeah.
ingredients. We call them ingredients because
The recipe.
every element is essential.
Right.
You can't just
Right.
go, I'm going to take that one out. No, you got to keep that one in.
Right.
Okay, so the first one is to be committed, because
Oh,
the brain knows the difference, as you know, between commitment and interest.
yeah. I
That's a
like
good
that.
skill to identify in other people you're working with as well, because if somebody's only interested, they're going to be hard work. But if somebody's
That's right.
committed, they're going to do what it takes, right? So commitment rather than interest.
Yeah.
Fall in love with being uncomfortable. Do what it takes. Do what it takes.
Yeah.
Just lose. You got to live in a. I used to think once that there was a difference between an excuse and a reason, but no, you either do it or you don't.
Right. Total ownership of outcomes, not just ownership of excuses.
Yeah, it's implement fast.
Yeah.
Procrastination is a killer to success.
Right. I love it. I sometimes wear this on my wrist. Hold on. Where's the camera? Actually, I'll try this one.
You'll
See
have
if
to
you can read this.
I can't
Yeah.
see it.
No.
Progress, not yes, very much so.
Move forward.
You just got to
Implement.
just got to wake up. I wake up every day and I stand on my balcony and I go, I am healthy, wealthy, and wise, brilliant, bold, and beautiful. And then I
Oh,
say to myself, what do I need to do better today?
wow.
That's how I start my day every day. So implement fast, and then we have to be mindful. Now, mindfulness is a very powerful exercise, but to be mindful means that your 2% conscious brain is overriding the 98% unconscious pain and crap that could stop you from being better every day. So pain and crap are acronyms for problem, anxiety, internal conflict, negative belief, criticism, resistance, apprehension, and procrastination. So that's, just be mindful every day of being focused on what you want to achieve, so that unconscious parts of your brain that could just decide that, you're not worthy enough, you're not worthy enough, you don't deserve it, you're not good enough, you're too young, too old, too fat, whatever those limiting beliefs are, we've got to be mindful so that we can override that every day.
I love it. That is so cool. Commitment, discomfort, action, ownership, implementation, mindfulness, and then the last one was outcome. Outcomes, focused on outcomes.
The next one is train your brain daily. Got to make sure that you're feeding your brain with the right information that can move you forward.
Oh, nice.
Because the brain is only as good as what you give it.
That's exactly right. A bit like most things, including AI. It's only as good as the query. I love it.
Only good as the query. I had a client once that said to me, Susie, I've got a stupid brain. It's not telling me the right stuff. And I said, okay, well, let's put the right stuff in it.
Oh, that's such a great question.
Yeah,
I mean,
such
such
a
a
great
great
question.
statement.
Well,
You know,
she was an academic, so really, she was dedicated to learning, but her personal life was a little bit different.
right.
So, and I think that's something that people need to understand, that we've got different boxes of our life. You may be
Okay.
things may be working brilliantly here, but not so brilliantly over on this side. So, she was telling herself, she was telling herself the wrong story. So we just wrote the
That's it.
story, and she started feeding her brain. So feeding your brain the right information is essential.
Nice. And how'd she go? Did she turn it around? Did she start thinking a little bit differently?
Yeah, she did.
Cool.
Yeah, she
Great.
did. She definitely did.
Fantastic.
I like to, I like to show people, help people solve a problem, and then give them the skills and the strategy that they can implement as they grow through life, so that they don't need me forever.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly right. Implement.
And then the last one is be coachable. The last
Oh,
ingredient is be coachable.
it's skill set number one, isn't it? On the planet, be coachable. Willing to learn, willing to grow, willing to develop. Because unless you
Yeah.
are an Elon Musk or a JT Fox, you're probably not at the top of your game, and you've still got some growth opportunity to, there's an area of improvement.
And you know what, Anton? Every single one of us,
Mm.
and JT will even say this,
He's
that
probably
there's
improving as
always
well.
more to learn. We can always be we can always be better, right?
Better
Always.
versions of ourselves, as they say.
We can always be better.
Great. Thank you, Susan. You're amazing. That's so much fun. Susan, Sheehan, you're amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. We just had an amazing guest on to another amazing podcast of Find Your Influence. My name's Anton Guinea, and for 20 years, I have been sitting, working with, training, coaching, and consulting leaders at all levels of organizations. I have coached Gen Z leaders right through to baby boomer leaders. I've done 1,500 one-on-one leadership coaching sessions. My mission on this planet is to help leaders create high-performing and psychologically safe teams. If you want to upgrade your leadership, upskill your teams, or upskill your leadership, please reach out. You can get me at anton@theguineagroup.com.au. Please tune into our next episode. These podcast chats are amazing. The value and the information that you get will help you be more influential and help you be a better leader.